part of your update news, and it's absolutely free. That number for Pet Patrol, 362-6144.
Latest news from Stan Maddox. The most accurate weather from staff meteorologist Wayne Mahar. Your number one source for news and information in LaPorte County is 96.7 The Eagle. Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media, LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Today is Friday, October 29th, the final show of October, and you're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. My name is Nate Laux, and it's an honor to be your host today. Back in 2008, a young couple discovered they were pregnant. Both were college educated, but both had picked occupations that didn't pay all that much. The wife had started working a new, better paying job when she discovered she was pregnant with their first child. Not having a full year into that position, she was ineligible for FMLA and time off after her delivery. Now, since the employer was a Catholic organization and wanted to support this new family, they decided to give up 6 weeks off unpaid. The woman took 5 weeks, as it was all the couple could afford without going into further debt, and went back to work. Now, this is my story. This is the story of my first child, my daughter Nora. I was a young pastor not making much, and my wife was a graphic designer at the time. She's now a nurse. When we both worked, we could afford to live and pay our $90,000 mortgage, but few people and couples can afford to take 6 weeks off unpaid, which is why I was interested when paid family leave was one of the major policy decisions on the proposed spending framework for President Biden. As a candidate, Biden said that paid family leave was important to building stronger families. Yet, as of yesterday, this policy proposal was cut from the spending bill. So I want to hear from you. Should America adopt a national paid family leave policy? If you have an opinion on this, call or text the Liquor Vault on air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I'd love to hear from you about your beliefs here on the paid family leave policy that was ultimately nixed from this framework, but I think still an important topic to talk about. But while we wait for your calls and texts, 219-362-0522, let's talk about on this day in history. On October 28th, 1965, construction was completed on the Gateway Arch, a spectacular 630-foot-high parabola of stainless steel marking the Jefferson National Expansion Memorial on the waterfront of St. Louis, Missouri. Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen designed the arch in 1947. Construction began on February 12, 1963, and was completed on October 28, 1965, at an overall cost of $13 million. 40 blocks of St. Louis were demolished to build the arch and its surrounding park, including dozens of warehouses and cast iron buildings housing 290 businesses total. Now, here's a fun fact for you. Presidents aren't allowed to go to the top, except President Eisenhower. The Secret Service had forbidden all presidents from ascending the Gateway Arch due to security concerns. Still a rule. It is, after all, a very tight, enclosed space, something security certainly don't want to deal with. The only exception was Dwight D. Eisenhower, who signed the arch's construction order in 1954. In 1967, when he was 77 years old, the former president visited St. Louis to speak. A trip to the top was not in his itinerary, but when he showed up early to the monument, after it was closed to the public, he insisted on riding the tram up. And I don't know about you, but who's going to tell Ike no? That's been on this day in history. The U.S. economy needs more kids. Americans say they want more kids, yet the baby bust has gotten worse. The general fertility rate, that is the number of births per 1,000 ages 15 to 44, declined to 55.8 in 2020, according to provisional data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's a record low. We're not having enough babies. Birth rates declined for every racial and ethnic group and every age group. The 2010s had the smallest population growth of any decade since the Great Depression, which again, the population growth and lack of is part of the reason we're in the problem we are with unemployment and finding people to work. And these birth declines are only going to make it worse. So the pandemic may have worsened the baby bust, but it's hardly the only cause. A host of other factors suggest low birth rates will continue, including changing preferences, financial insecurity, and the country's general inhospitableness to working parents. So I want to hear from you. Should America adopt a national paid family leave policy? Maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, that after you have a child, you are allowed and obligated to paid leave to take care of your child. If you have an opinion on this, call or text the Liquor Vault on air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's get to our first caller. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
Well, this is probably going to sound cruel to a lot of people, but this is not something that the taxpayer should have to fund. Back in the day, when my wife at the time and I started having children, it was cheaper for her to stay home, take care of the family, and we did without a lot. We were starting out on our farm operation at that time that I purchased from my parents. Didn't inherit it. I had to purchase it like it should be done. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I was working 2 and 3 jobs outside the farm. There was a couple of dairy farms down the road from me who were in the same boat as I was, struggling, trying to survive, just like the rest of us at that age. We helped each other. We worked around this. So the people have to start using their intelligence. You do without. We didn't go out to dinner. We didn't buy extravagant gifts for TV for Christmas. We didn't have 3 big screen TVs in our house. We didn't have the big giant internet plan, the big giant cell phone plans, the big giant cable TV plans. We did without a lot of things. And the biggest thing driving, I watched CNN this morning. I watch all the news networks in the mornings. CNN, which is as far left as you can possibly get, had a lady on there explaining that when they come up with this number of $20,000 a year for child care, the government rules and regulations are driving that, plus the cost of wages for these people that they have to be in the daycare are driving that. Back in the day when our parents were just a one-income household, the wages were not what there are now. Every time wages go up, it affects every single thing down the line. So when the price of a new car goes up, it's because the guy building the car got a bigger raise. The steel workers got a raise. Everybody gets a raise. So no, this is not something that our tax dollars should be going into. There are far more important things, just like now they're proposing a $450,000 payment to all the illegal immigrants because they were inconvenienced when they were caught trying to sneak in. So no, this is something that our congressmen better sit down and think about how it's going to be paid for, because we're getting tired of paying higher and higher taxes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks so much for calling, buddy. I do want to add there that this has been nixed. The paid family leave is not currently on the spending framework right now. The White House released a new $1.75 trillion social spending framework on Thursday morning, and that was not included. There were other things on there, but that was not one of them. And so, though it's got a lot of people upset, now nearly 80% of Americans favor some kind of paid family leave. Again, this doesn't mean that we all agree on what that should look like. Should it be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks? But again, most people, Steve, not withholding, and again, I think Steve's points with merit there, that a lot of people do believe that, you know, there should be some kind of incentive for Americans to have children. We're just not having enough of them. And so we're getting your thoughts on this. What's your belief and what's your thoughts on paid family leave? Let's get to one more caller before break. Hello, thanks so much for calling. Glad to have you on the show today. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
I don't believe it's necessary at all. It seems to be a part of that spoiled entitlement stuff that's going on in the world today, I see no sense in paying people to be parents. If you stay home and you be a parent, then that's what you do. Rewards are its own. The whole world has existed forever up until now without that. People used to have big, huge families. They didn't get that. So. I would say no, there's no sense in any of that silliness. It's just more free money for people to sit around. So that's my thoughts.
All right. Well, thanks so much for calling. And so we're asking you about what your thoughts on paid family leave are. Now, I'm past the point. My wife and I are not going to have any more children. We've decided our third one was enough. So we've done our part. We've had 3 of them, right? We are more than replacing ourselves. I am interested in this because I think it's, I know a lot of young couples that are doing their best to work and would enjoy maybe a little bit of time off. And again, it's a matter of what you want your tax dollars to go to. Do you want it to go to this or something else? So we're talking about paid family leave. We're going to take a really quick break, our first break of the day. We're talking about paid family leave on today's show. What your thoughts on it? Obviously, it was just cut from the latest spending framework bill that was released on Thursday morning, so it's not going to happen as of now anyway. But it is a policy that reportedly polling says 80% of Americans favor. So we're getting your opinions on this and what your thoughts on are that it got cut. So we're going to take a break. Keep where you're at and keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, LaPorte Seamless Gutter, 219-362-9972. Fall is here, and that means leaves and debris for your gutter system. We've got 3 separate types of gutter guard for your home. Leaves and debris come in all shapes and sizes. We don't need a one-size-fits-all for your gutter. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com.
Join 96.7 The Eagle every Sunday morning from 9 to 9:30 a.m. for Bethany Church's Sound Up. Enlighten your Sunday morning with inspirational words of faith from Pastor Dennis Meyer. Bethany Church's Sound Up every Sunday morning from 9 to 9:30 a.m. on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hi, this is Michael Morrison with the New York Blower Company. The New York Blower Company has been in business for more than 132 years, and we are continuing to expand products and services worldwide. We are an industry leader in manufacturing premium quality engineered fans and blowers to the marketplace. If you have welding and production experience, I would like to personally invite you to apply for our available positions. We offer a complete benefits package with competitive wages. Come see what sets us apart from the rest. Visit nyb.com or visit us on Facebook to apply today.
Your forecast on 96.7 The Eagle brought to you by Harmon Expert Auto Service. If you're looking for a local and quality auto repair company, then look no further than Harmon Expert Auto with 2 locations in LaPorte, 308 Washington or 111 Brighton Streets. Visit their website at harmonexpertautoservice.com or call 325-0444.
Michiana weather. Cloudy skies this afternoon with scattered rain showers likely. High of 58. Winds out of the northeast, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered rain showers again tonight, 47. Cloudy. From the Weather Center at hometovnnewsnow.com. Right now, 52.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. Glad to have you with us on today's Sound Off. We're talking about paid family leave. Should America adopt a national paid family leave policy? Now, it was recently, just in the last day or so, nixed from the spending framework that President Biden and the Democrats are working on. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think Senator Manchin was the one that really nixed that. But we're talking about what you believe about this. Now, there are other countries that certainly provide paid family leave. In the UK, you get 39 weeks paid. In Ireland, you get 26 weeks. Finland, you get 23.5. Australia, you get 18. Denmark, you get 18. France, you get 16 paid weeks. Switzerland, you get 14 paid weeks. In America, you get none. You get no paid leave. Now, if you've been with your employer for over a year, they should have to provide, there are some legal kind of wiggle room, they should have to provide pregnant women 6 weeks off under FMLA, and up to 12 weeks I think you can get. But my wife only took 5 weeks in our first one because we had to get back to pay our mortgage and things like that. But we're talking about what you believe about this national paid leave policy. Would you like to see America adopt one of these? Here's a comment here from our Facebook feed. There should be a minimum 8-week leave policy. Thank you so much for commenting on Facebook. We see you there. A couple of comments over on our text threads. We are overpopulated already. They should lower the cost of vasectomy and hysterectomy. We're actually not replacing ourselves. So if you're wanting the population to diminish, Americans aren't replacing themselves. Here's a comment. The infrastructure bill should only deal with infrastructure, not all this added in stuff. The word stuff there was editorialized by me. That's not the word that they used. But again, let's get to another caller. Let's see what you think. We're talking about this on today's show. Hello, we're talking about the Family Leave Act or the Family Leave Policy kind of things. What are your thoughts on this?
Hi, I've been in the corporate world for many years. I'm currently off now. I've had grandchildren I was blessed enough to raise. I, at one point, had to stop a career to take care of a mother. I have a lot of experience with this situation. And with great respect to those gentlemen that were in front of me, I would also like to comment that, things are not the way they were. You cannot raise a family on the same amount of money because the cost of things, you just can't do it. So you do need a break a little bit of that. It's not like we're that entitled. That's another myth that goes along in the United States, that somehow people think they're entitled to things, which they don't. They just think, we live in such a great country that we should not have to handle the stresses that we do. Mm-hmm. And then back to that, yes. Normally, most companies will give out, or at least there's a great deal of companies that will give out a 12-week non-paid leave. I think that's the Family Leave Act that you're allowed.
The FMLA, yeah.
If you need it. I had to take time off when my dad was dying, and I had to take time off when my mom was sick. And I was not able to be paid for those times. Thank God I had been established on my job and had a little bit of savings. Although at the end, I did end up losing my house because of bills, However, at the time you're there, you need that break. You need to be able to take time off. I was lucky that I was established and I was with a company that worked with me. Not everyone does. When any grown person goes out there to work at 18 years of age, you're taking this on your own. And you have to be the one responsible for what you receive and what you don't. And yes, it's not unreasonable to expect to be able to let our government give us that little bit of breathing room in that area with our social programs. It's also not unreasonable. I think that seniors need a little boost too, because they really, we're getting a halfway decent one, but to be able to live on a Social Security, even with a pension, in this day and age, and now prices are jumping again, and people are worried about this much money. Yeah. They really have no idea of the broad spectrum of what it takes to run a country, or even a city, or even a school system, and how that money filters through. They can sit around with their good buddies and talk all they want about how they should or shouldn't be spending this much money, but if they really wanted to think about what people have to go through, it would be a great help.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. Again, we're trying to keep everyone to 3 minutes, but I appreciated your opinions on this, especially, again, getting opinions from women on the show, because sometimes, again, we have lots of men calling and things like this, deciding for things that largely more impact women. And so I appreciate that. So today we're talking about paid family leave on today's Sound Off. 219-362-0522. Call me, text me, email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on this?
Hey, yeah, thanks for letting me get in on this. First off, the men need to step up. If you're not already a father when you're getting ready to have, or a husband when you're getting ready to have a child with a woman, you need to step up, marry that woman, make that family complete, because that makes it a more successful world for the child. Number two, I actually didn't say number one, but number two, if we either pay now or you pay later, I think a woman should have 6 months paid. And I think the reason is with breastfeeding and the connection that the child makes with the mother has been proven time after time. The health conditions, mental and physical, for that child is just many benefits of that, way over passing a child through babysitter after babysitter. And the other thing is this: Americans always like to screw each other over on these things. We pay millions, if not billions of dollars to foreign aid. It has nothing to do with the U.S. We just spent supposedly, millions of dollars to Pakistan for gender studies. You think that money should go maybe to the moms that could use that 6 months off to connect with that child, to keep that child within a family with a father and a mother, and they'll keep them out of jail. They'll keep them healthier. It keeps them more mental fit. It keeps them in a situation where they can go to school and relax and learn things. So Americans need to quit messing with each other and get together and realize that these politicians don't have a clue and they don't care. Rhino Republicans and Democrats could care less about Americans. We need to call in there and make sure that these mothers get to stay home, breastfeed these kids, bond with these children, and make it a benefit for Americans, not for foreigners by shoving money overseas. Let's keep it within America. Take care.
Thanks so much. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, there are just countries getting lots of money, right? I think I read just recently that Israel alone gets close to $4 billion a year just in aid from America. I mean, they don't repay it. They don't have to do anything with it. $4 billion. That's a lot of money. So let's get to another caller. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Thanks for calling. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
I believe they should get paid family leave. I took care of my father up until his death, and I lost a lot of things. So, yeah, I agree with the last caller, too. Mm-hmm. That money should be staying in the United States, not going overseas.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Hey, thanks so much for calling. Let's get to another caller before break. Hey, thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening to the show. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
Oh yeah, I believe that there should be family leave. You know, this first jerk that one talked about, he worked two jobs and all that stuff. You know, he couldn't even afford 10 cents for a loaf of bread. That's what it was. So evidently, he done poor management himself. And right now, you ain't gonna get no loaf of bread for 10 cents. You know, if everything was 10 cents, well, you could have one person living and doing the work for everybody. It's a sad situation when people stab. Look at the congressmen. They're getting all kinds of money. They don't even work. They fly in for a week or so, cut their pay. But see, that's all Republicans, and they ain't about to touch the cut and pay. Oh no, they want a raise. So that's my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate all of our listeners today. We're going to take another quick break, get back to some more calls. If you've got your opinions on paid family leave, love to hear from you today. 219-362-0522. The Liquor Vault on-air line is open. You can also text me, 219-362-0522. The paid family leave, kind of part of the recent spending bill got cut. It was one of the things that Senator Joe Manchin wanted to cut out of there. But it's a very popular policy in America. Actually, 80% data suggests 80% of Americans, and it seems like most of our callers do support it. So we're getting your thoughts on it. I really enjoy hearing your stories, too, of how it would impact you, because I think it's important for us to listen to our neighbors as well. We're going to take another quick break. Keep listening right here to 96.7 The Eagle.
Tire sale on now at both Cannon's locations. Brands like Michelin, Hankook, Hercules, and Cooper. Rebates of up to $160. Free alignment inspection and schedule your fall tune-up, oil change, tire rotation, brake inspection, and winter-ready inspection, all for $56.02. Don't wait weeks for auto repairs. Same-day appointments available. See the experts at Cannon Automotive. 2 great locations, 710 Tyler and 909 Boyd Boulevard. Go further with Cannon's Automotive.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next flooring project with 11% off everything. Update your home with Great Lakes Flooring. Vinyl plank is waterproof, durable, and easy to install, making it perfect for any active lifestyle. Right now, get 11% off all Great Lakes vinyl plank flooring. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through October 30th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Albert Pujols.
And I'm Deidre Pujols.
And we made it our mission to strike out slavery.
Did you know that millions of people, many who are in vulnerable populations, are caught in this nightmare of violence, fraud, and coercion? And during a crisis like the pandemic, even more innocent people are at risk of falling victim to human trafficking.
Sometimes we all take true freedom for granted. Freedom to live our life.
The freedom to pursue our dreams.
The freedom to watch and play baseball.
But for far too many, basic freedom has been torn away, often violently and often targeting those most vulnerable among us.
That's why we made it our mission to strike out slavery.
And we're sending out an SOS, because freedom is worth fighting for.
Join us. Join baseball fans. Join the fight against human trafficking. Go to strikeoutslavery.com.
LaPorte County Cars, the car business done right. Locally owned, great inventory with conventional and in-house financing. Transparent sales from start to finish. See them at LaPorteCountyCars.com, on Facebook, or stop in and see Gene today.
So who's hungry? Good, because I've got a deal for you. Hey, it's Dennis Siddell. Make sure you listen for Denny's Diner weekdays at 6:55 right here on the Morning Mayhem. Both Joe and I will be cooking up some country trivia questions, and if you have the correct answer, you'll be the winner of a $20 gift card from either JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill, Wanna Pizza, The Burger Bar and Grill, Nowhere Bar and Grill, and T-Berry's Diner. Make sure to join us for Denny's Diner at 6:55 a.m. during the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win on 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. Glad to have you on the show today. We're talking about paid family leave. If you've got an opinion on this, it was just nixed yesterday on our most recent spending bill that the Democrats are putting forward with President Joe Biden. It's not one of the things that's going to make it into the most pressing bill anyway. So we're talking about this. reportedly 80% of Americans favor this. If you've got an opinion, 219-362-0522. A Facebook comment here. I agree 100% what this lady is talking about, so I assume you agree with having paid family leave. All right, let's get to another caller. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for waiting on the phone lines. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
Hello, Nate.
Yeah, hey, buddy.
Hi. Yeah, good discussion today, but before you even should discuss it, you should just come up with a way to raise the money to fund this operation. Has anybody thought of that?
Well, I think one of the ideas that some people have said is just that how about we cut some of the aid we're sending to countries like Israel or some of the other countries that we're sending so much aid to, that we would have enough money to fund it.
Yeah, that'd be a good start. Yeah, and then also we all live a little different now. Yeah. One lady said you can't raise a family on the same amount of money anymore. It's because we don't buy the same things anymore. When I was growing up, we bought a little bit of coal to heat the house, and young people didn't have a car until maybe they could be a senior in high school and afford to buy a $75 car. Now they didn't have they had a little cinder parking lot at my school for the teachers to park in, and that was it. But now, look at it. And they didn't bus people all over the place. We did what we needed to. We used what we needed to have. That's it. Just you living in the future all the time nowadays. there's a lot of things you don't need to live and raise a family. I mean, just a few things, and we know we're not going to do without them. You don't need power windows. You don't need air conditioning. You don't need a smartphone. And as far as subsidizing something, I work construction all my life. And in construction, you know what the word is in construction? You can talk to your uncles or your dad. If you don't work, you don't get paid. There's no vacation. Now, factories and that, they had vacations, you know, as an incentive. But in construction, if you're not laying asphalt or building a bridge or something like that, and you're laid off for the winter, you have a small amount of unemployment, which the employer paid in. It's called unemployment insurance. And that was it.
Yeah.
And the one guy said you can't buy a loaf of bread for 10 cents anymore. That's very true. But I picked up a loaf for 85 cents the other day at Aldi's. And the breads at different grocery stores are $4, $5. But you don't need that $5 loaf of bread, understand? The 85-cent loaf of bread does the job just fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think budgeting and these kind of things is something we should certainly put in our education plan as well, you know, in high school and things like this, because, you know, teaching general budgeting skills and how to be fiscally responsible as a person is an important thing as well.
We didn't have any book rental. When I went to school, we hooked up with a family where one of the boys was a grade ahead of me and the other boy was a grade behind me, and we traded books. And went into camps and bought a workbook for 15 cents.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling. Sorry, we got a couple more callers before the end that we want to get to. People get mad at me if I don't get to the callers. We do have some texts here. Canada, they get 1 year off. Either the parents can split it 6 months, a parent, so dad gets 6 months, wife, or, you know, I don't want to discount LGBT families either, but so essentially one parent gets 6 months, the other parent gets 6 months, or one parent gets 12 months, wherever they want to do to work out for a year, and it's paid. All right, let's get to another caller. Thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for being on the show. What's your thoughts on paid family leave, rather?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
Well, I can see the need. For a long time, families have not been able to survive on just one income, and I think that's tragic. It used to be that the father traditionally was the breadwinner and the mother stayed home with the kids. Well, that was a good concept, but unfortunately, that's not the real world anymore. So family leave, yeah, I can see that. I don't know the time duration that I think would be appropriate. That's hard to say. The one, you got someone texted in 8 weeks, well, that's something to look at. I mean, you know. But another concept that no one's brought up is the cost of child care. I mean, I think my oldest son, he worked days, so his wife was home with the kids, and then, you know, they flip-flop. So one was always home at the time, so that was a good thing. And when that couldn't happen, well, Grandma and Grandpa helped out where we could, you know, but a lot of couples don't have that option. So therein, there's a whole lot of issues with the way it is today. I think it's tragic that families can't make it on just one income. That's bad. But, you know, you're talking about increasing the population. Interesting to note, China's trying to get their people to have more babies now, too. I saw an article on that recently. And with the massive population they've got, I never thought I'd see that. But getting back to something else, you inserted a word that was not in the original texter that you received. I can only assume that word was not appropriate for a sound-off program. Am I on the right track with that?
Correct. Yes, I do have to censor sometimes when people text. Yep.
Yeah, I understand, Pastor. We appreciate that. We don't need the inappropriate on the sound-off program. But, yeah, I don't know. You're talking about that money going to Israel for no apparent reason. Why? You know, I mean, and that young man that called in, talk about men need to step up. My hat's off to him. He sounds like a decent young person, and we need more decency and period.
Yeah.
You know what I say?
look around. It's terrible what's going on.
I agree.
In this country, so much hatred. Lord help us all, huh?
All right. Well, I agree. Thanks so much for calling. Let's get to our final caller of the day. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. Appreciate you. What's your thoughts on paid family leave?
Well, I do agree that we need to stop sending money to countries that don't like us very much, and that would help to alleviate some of the problems with this. I didn't have a problem marrying the guy that I got pregnant by, having a family. I got to stay at home because he went to work, and I stayed home with the kids, watched a couple other kids as other income. He had insurance, and we've been together 25 years. We did without. You make sacrifices, and if more people would make sacrifices, I think that other people would be able to say, okay, maybe I don't need this and don't need that. And between the two, with not spending money or sending money to other places, and people doing for themselves and doing without, I think between the two, it can alleviate a lot of the family problems we're having.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate that thought. We did get a couple texts here. Long live the gong. I love it. That is our producer, Dennis Siddell, on the gong. Here's a text. No paid leave. People need to learn to live within their means. Again, thank you so much for your text and your opinions on this. It's interesting. It's one of those conversations that we certainly are going to continue to have as this a national paid family leave program certainly might not be in the current bill, but will certainly be a topic that's moving forward. It's interesting. Even Stephen Miller, the former advisor to President Trump, is attacking the Democrats for not including paid family leave in the current program. So, again, there's a lot of Republicans that want this. There's a lot of Democrats that wanted it, but it just didn't make it in. So, again, we've appreciated your opinions on this paid family leave. I did want to comment real quick. Somebody texted about what's the connection between unemployment and low birth rates. Well, baby boomers are the largest generation, right? They're by far the largest generation, and they're retiring like crazy right now, which good for you, baby boomers, especially if you've done what you need to do to retire and you've earned it. Congrats. But it's left big holes in the labor market, right? And so if we're not replacing the people that are in the labor market with other workers, and we're not generationally replacing the next generation, then we don't have enough workers to replace the people that are working. And so there's a profound connection between birth rates and unemployment, and birth rates and a healthy economy and things like this. And so when we see birth rates go down like they have, and they're in the cellar right now, Americans just aren't having babies. But again, China, again, a lot of other countries aren't either. We do have these issues. And so there is a connection. There's a profound connection to it. So we could talk about that on another show. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you for being a part of this. We certainly podcast all of these episodes. If you ever miss something or you want to share this episode with someone else, we'd love to have you do that. Like us on Facebook, on hometownnewsnow.com's Facebook, or 96.7 The Eagle Facebook, and stay in the know of what's happening here at Sound Off and all the other great shows. And I